Pick up any official map of the Iranian plateau, a government-issued map, a satellite navigation map, an academic archaeological survey map published by any institution with Iranian government cooperation. Find the Dasht-e Kavir, the Great Salt Desert. Find the Dasht-e Lut, the empty quarter, the hottest land surface ever recorded on Earth at 70.7 degrees Celsius. Now look for ruins. You will find the sites that Iran has decided you should find. Persepolis is there, Pasargadae is there, Choga Zambil is there. These are the sites with visitor centers and UNESCO plaques and approved narratives that fit comfortably within the version of Iranian history that the current political establishment finds acceptable. What is not on the map is what we are looking at today, not because it does not exist, because someone with the authority to decide what goes on a map decided that these 4 places should not be on it. The reasons differ for each site. The implications of what is at each site differ as well. But the decision in each case was the same: leave it off. And for decades, the desert has been keeping that decision. The desert is very good at keeping decisions. Today, we go to the places the map does not show. The burnt city, Sistan, Iranian. The official name, when Iranian authorities do acknowledge its existence, is Shar-e-Sukte, the burnt city. It sits in the Sistan region near the Afghan border at the edge of the Hamoon wetland system in what is now one of the most arid and remote areas of Iran. It was occupied between approximately 3200 BC and 1800 BC. At its peak, it covered 151 hectares and housed a population estimated between 25,000 and 40,000 people. It was one of the largest cities in the ancient world at its time of peak occupation, and it was burnt 3 times, each burning followed by rebuilding on the same site. The 4th burning was final. What the burnt city contains has been known to Iranian and international archaeologists since excavations began in the 1960s. The site was largely off official maps and away from approved tourist circuits until relatively recently, and sections of the excavated material remain in restricted access. What the excavations found in the accessible portions challenges the accepted timeline of several human technologies simultaneously. The world's earliest known example of animation, a painted pottery sequence showing a goat jumping to eat leaves from a tree, the sequence of images designed to be viewed in rotation to create the illusion of movement. 5 images, a narrative sequence 5,200 years ago. The earliest known artificial eye, a prosthetic eyeball made from bitumen paste and gold wire found is an eye socket of a female skull. The gold wire designed to attach it to the surrounding tissue. The earliest known backgammon set, a gaming board with pieces in a configuration that matches the modern game exactly. The earliest known brain surgery performed on a living patient who survived the procedure based on bone regrowth evidence around the surgical site. Each of these firsts was documented in excavation reports. Each was published in specialist archaeological literature. None of them received the mainstream attention that comparable discoveries at sites in Egypt or Mesopotamia receive because the burnt city spent most of its known existence in a category that the Iranian government found uncomfortable. A city of 40,000 people at the edge of what is now Iran, with technologies that predate the accepted timeline of those technologies in Western academic literature, does not fit neatly into any political or academic narrative that either the Iranian government or Western institutions found convenient to promote. It sat in the desert. It stayed off the main map. The excavations continued slowly. The findings accumulated quietly. And the goat painted on a pottery sequence 5,200 years ago kept moving in its silent loop, waiting for someone to look. The Elamite complex of Jiroft. In 2001, catastrophic flooding along the Halil River in Kerman province exposed archaeological material across a wide area of the riverbank. Local people began collecting the exposed objects. By the time archaeologists arrived, the site had been extensively looted. What the looters had found, and what the subsequent authorized excavations confirmed, was the existence of an urban complex predating Mesopotamia as a literate civilization. Chlorite vessels carved with scenes of mythological complexity. Inscribed tablets in a script that has not been fully deciphered and that does not match any known ancient writing system. Architecture of a sophistication and scale that places Jiroft among the major urban centers of the ancient world in the 3rd millennium BC. The Jiroft civilization, as it has come to be called by the archaeologists who have worked the site since 2001, may be the origin point of the Elamite cultural tradition that shaped Iranian civilization for millennia. It may predate Elam as conventionally understood. It may represent a third independent origin point for urban civilization alongside Mesopotamia and the Indus Valley. Any of these implications would be significant. All of them together would require a fundamental revision of the accepted narrative of civilization's origins. The Iranian government's response to Jiroft has been inconsistent. Excavation has been permitted, and then restricted, and then permitted again, across 2 decades. The undeciphered script found at the site has not been made available to the full international scholarly community for analysis. The chlorite vessels that appeared on the international art market through the 2001 looting are in private collections whose contents are not publicly cataloged. What was taken from Jiroft before the archaeologists arrived is not fully known. What remains at the site in restricted storage is not fully published. And the script on the tablets, which may or may not tell us who built this city and why it matters, remains unread by anyone outside a small circle of Iranian and affiliated scholars whose publications have been selective. The hypogeum of Karaftu, Kurdistan Province. In the Zagros Mountains of northwestern Iran in Kurdistan Province, carved into a limestone cliff face above a seasonal river, there is a multi-chamber hypogeum, an underground rock-cut complex called Karaftu. The chambers extend into the cliff face across multiple levels, with connecting staircases, decorated interiors, and inscriptions in ancient Greek that include a dedication to the Greek hero Heracles. Ancient Greek inscriptions in the Zagros Mountains of Iran. The presence of a Heracles dedication in a rock-cut complex in what was Parthian territory in the relevant period raises questions about the extent of Greek cultural penetration into the Iranian interior that the conventional history of the Hellenistic period in the Near East does not fully address. The Karaftu complex has been known to scholars since the 19th century. It appeared in some earlier Western academic surveys. It does not appear on Iranian government tourist maps. It does not appear in Iranian government archaeological promotion materials. The site sits in the Kurdistan province of Iran, a region whose political sensitivity within the Iranian state adds a layer of administrative complexity to archaeological access. Independent researchers who have attempted to visit and document the site in recent decades have encountered access restrictions that are administrative rather than physical. The site is there. The cliff is there. The inscriptions are there. The permission to study them fully is not there. The Greek inscription mentioning Heracles in the Zagros Mountains is one of the most geographically anomalous epigraphic finds in the ancient Near East. Its restricted status means its implications for the history of cultural exchange between the Greek world and the Iranian plateau have not been fully explored in any published study available to the general academic community. The eastern structures of the Dasht-e Kavir interior. This last one does not have a name. That is the first significant fact about it. Every major ruin that Iranian or international authorities want you to know about has a name. A designation, a site number in the Iranian Cultural Heritage Organization's registry. The structures in the deep interior of the Dasht-e Kavir, Iran's Great Salt Desert, do not appear in the registry. They appear in satellite imagery. They have appeared in satellite imagery since commercial high-resolution satellite photography became available in the late 1990s and early 2000s. Geometric structures. Rectilinear foundations. Patterns in the salt flat surface that are inconsistent with natural geological formation and consistent with large-scale architectural remains. The structures are not small. The largest visible complex covers an area of several square kilometers. At the center of one of the hottest and most hostile environments on Earth, the Dasht-e Kavir was not always what it is now. Paleoclimatological research published in Iranian and international geological journals has established that the central Iranian plateau experienced significantly wetter conditions during the Holocene wet phase between approximately 9000 BC and 5000 BC. The Kavir was not a salt desert during that period. It was a lake system, a wetland, a habitable and potentially agriculturally productive environment. Structures built during the wet phase would be exactly where the satellite imagery shows them, on what was then habitable ground near water sources, in what is now the most inaccessible part of the Iranian desert. The Iranian Cultural Heritage Organization has not published any survey of the satellite visible structures in the Dasht-e Kavir interior. No excavation has been announced. No research permit for the area has been issued to any international research team that has made a public application. The structures sit in the salt flat. The satellite images are publicly available to anyone with an internet connection and the knowledge of where to look. The coordinates have been shared in specialist online forums by researchers who have identified them. The Iranian government has confirmed or denied their existence in any official communication. The desert is 77,600 square kilometers. The structures are at its center, and the map that the Iranian government publishes of the Iranian plateau shows nothing there but salt. These 4 places share a quality that goes beyond their individual significance. They each represent a version of Iranian history that is more complex, more ancient, more connected to the broader story of human civilization, and more challenging to existing political and academic narratives than the version on the approved map. The burnt city suggests that technological innovation happened in the Iranian desert independently of the civilizations that get credit for it. Jiroft suggests that urban civilization in the Iranian plateau is older and more sophisticated than the Mesopotamian-centric model of civilization's origins admits. Karaftu suggests that the cultural geography of the ancient Near East was more interconnected than the conventional boundaries between Greek and Iranian worlds imply. And the nameless structures of the Kavirs suggest that the history of habitation on the Iranian plateau extends into a period so remote that the landscape itself has been transformed beyond recognition since the people who built those foundations were alive. If the map does not show it, it does not mean it is not there. It means someone decided you should not go looking. And if there is one thing the history of every suppressed archaeological site on Earth teaches, it is that the decision to stop people from looking is almost always made because what is there is worth finding. These ruins have been in the desert for thousands of years. They are not going anywhere. And neither is the question of why someone with a pen and the authority to draw a map decided to leave them off it. If this kind of history matters to you, the kind that does not appear on the official map, make sure you are subscribed because we are just getting started.